morning, everyone. Let's welcome my next guest, Karan Johar. Now, if you don't know who Karan Johar is, you've obviously been living under a rock. Because he's everywhere doing everything. He's everyone's best friend. Everyone loves him, except the people who want him dead. But that's a whole different thing.
Oh, there are those people as well?
Oh, come on. You're the most trolled person and you know it, right?
That's fine.
You love it. Trolled is the new famous.
With all my heart.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Now, you wear many hats, from director, now actor, businessman, TV host, dancer, best friend, and now father. What out of all these hats fits you the best?
Well, I'm hoping it's the one that qualifies me to be a filmmaker. I think that's where it all started. Everything else has been like I think a perk or I think an opportunity as a result of my space in cinema. So it's been, very exhilarating, the entire journey. But being a filmmaker is everything for me. That's my primary passion.
You know, you talk a lot in interviews and in your book about your greatest fear being, I don't want to become irrelevant, or that I will no longer be relevant.
Right.
I mean, apart from the fact that you're probably irrelevant to some people, you know that, right?
Right.
Or
Sorry?
that you may be irrelevant to some people.
Of course.
Yeah. So, do you feel that by being everywhere, there might be like an overload of Karan and people might get sick of you, or you do it to stay relevant?
Well, that's a bit of like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
But you do what you enjoy, and being relevant is also strategic. I mean, there are things you do sometimes. You realize that, when I made two very heavy-handed films with My Name is Khan and Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna, that I needed to kind of cater to pop culture, to teenagers. So I made Student of the Year. It was a strategic decision. It wasn't an emotional one. And I knew that I wasn't moving any cinema mountains with it. I knew it would be a popcorn entertainer at best. And I worked towards it just because I felt like younger kids needed to know who I was. My decision to do television was also strategic because I felt like there was a large part of India that needed to be aware of what I do and what I say and how I go about things. And it was also the same year that I was directing Student of the Year, and I felt that the kids I was launching needed like a GEC platform for me to promote the film with. So I did India's Got Talent and Jhalak Dikhla Ja. It so happened that I would say a byproduct of landed up making me dance on national television.
Oh, you love it, Karan.
Yeah, I do, but I know I'm kind of stupid and silly and shouldn't be doing that because I'm a filmmaker, but I love it. You have to be unapologetic and unabashed with everything you do. So I do what I do and what makes me like really feel happy from within.
You're one of the most self-aware people. Even you know how self-aware you are, right? You know the films you're putting out, what they're about. Sometimes you're also quite self-deprecating and you analyze yourself. How do you reconcile when you know, okay, my film is not as cool as I would have liked it to be,
right,
or I'm not doing what I want? How do you reconcile it before you go to bed?
You don't need to.
You don't need to?
No, why should you? I mean, if you've made an error or you've made an error in judgment and there's no such thing as an error where it comes to creativity. It's a perspective at that point of view, at that particular point of time. And maybe in retrospect you felt that you fumbled, you fell, you made some kind of bad calls. But you don't need to reconcile with what you've done. You can just acknowledge it and move on. What I don't understand is delusion. Because I believe that delusion is the biggest disease that plagues not only my fraternity, but many others. You have to be aware where you are in life, what you're good at, what you're not good at. Those are simple things to understand if you keep your head and heart open.
So what is the biggest grandeur of delusion that you have, or grandeur of illusion that you've actually encountered in the industry?
Everyone.
Give me one, Karan.
No, there are so many who think that they are, beyond their ability, beyond their presence, and, beyond their fame, perhaps, at times. And I get very surprised each and every time that I encounter a filmmaker or an artist or a studio head who actually don't know where they are in life. If tomorrow, I know if somebody tells me in the pecking order where things lie, it's very simple to know where you are and where you want to be. Aspiration is fantastic, delusion is not.
So do you tell them? Sorry,
No.
excuse me, I know you think
Look,
you're number one, but you're not.
I want to tell you, sensitivity runs very high in my industry.
Yeah.
Everyone is always easy to offend. And I'm not the one to do that. When we watch a really bad film, I'm not the one to stand outside that preview and say, look, you made a really bad film, because I know I've made several myself. So I just feel you have to give a compassionate hug. Invariably, you'll end up saying a lie and moving on, because it's a day before the release. Why should I be honest? It's so overrated at times.
Okay, what is the time, or when is the time that you feel most tested in your life?
On the Friday of a film's release. It's the only profession that gets globally judged the moment your product is out. It doesn't happen in any other industry of the world. The entire world has an opinion on your film. Then you're subjected to box office conversations by people who know nothing about box office. Like, I've been in elevators and dining rooms and drawing room discussions, parties, where people like, oh, will it do 100 crores? What does that mean to some? You know, sometimes your film is worth 200, so if it does 100, it's a disaster. You know, or sometimes, like, someone asked me about Bombay Talkies, which was an omnibus endeavor. It was 4 directors doing art house work. And we were asked by the media, will this film make 100 crores? I'm like, not if, unless we release it and force people on gunpoint to see this film. It's not going to do 100 crores. It's not possible. It's like an art house film. So sometimes, you know, like, you're subjected to this box office, constant, like, you know, surveillance by the box office police or by people's opinions. And everyone has so many opinions. It's almost daunting now. Early in the morning, you wake up and you have an opinion. I, of course, apart from being trolled, am subjected to various kinds of opinions on various things.
And you read everything, right? You can't ignore it.
No, I love to. I'm completely a sadist like that. I love hearing abuse. It almost entertains me now. I mean, you know, the thing is, it started with anger. It went on to like probably indifference, and now I look forward to it. Like, you have no idea the kind of, like, you have no idea the kind of things that I wake up to in the morning. Besides the organic human feelings, there are also these trolls.
Okay, so are you going to tell me one, or shall I give you a troll that I found? It's very easy to find your trolls.
You're loving this, aren't you, Koel?
I'm not loving it,
This
because
is
you're
your
the only
early,
one
this
who
is your morning glory.
It is actually, okay.
Yeah.
I'm having my moment.
You're having your moment.
But only because you can take it, and there are not that many people who can, especially from your industry. So can I bring it on?
Go for it. This is a troll?
This is a troll.
Okay, it says, Karan Johar, first you bore us with your movies and then make fun of the Oscars. At least make a movie near that caliber, then talk.
What?
Okay, that's true. I mean, yeah, who am I to say that you made a screw up at the Oscars and that you probably made the entire cast and crew of La La Land feel like shit? Why should I say anything? Why should I? I should have just moonlighted it and just moved on. All right, okay. Rich of Bollywood, apparently, is the Twitter handle, says, to pick on the Oscars when they can't even telecast an award show live. Yeah, we can't. Movie stars don't turn up on time. People you invite don't show up. There'll be empty rows if you run live. And people who don't win awards don't show up, so there'll be no nominations.
So everyone knows who's winning an award beforehand?
No, not at Film Fair, but at several others you kind of find out, listen, I'll come if you're giving me the award or you're paying me to host it. Otherwise, there's no third reason to really reach an award function. I mean, not that I know of, at least. Compassion for cinema, don't be silly. There's no point in that.
Okay, let's leave the trolls aside.
Okay.
Let's talk about your book for a second.
Yeah.
Now, it's a really quick read, which is great, right? But your life is seriously dramatic. But before I even get there, I want to talk about the prologue. Now, Karan has always said, and I agree with him for this, that his sexuality is his business, and it should be. But yet you keep talking about it. Your prologue is 7 pages or whatever it is of just saying, I don't want to talk about my sexuality. I don't want to talk about how many bedrooms I'm going to have with the partner that I'm with. Why are you even bringing it up if you don't want to talk about it?
True.
Okay.
You want a longer answer?
Of course.
Okay. I'm trying to sum this up. So what happens is you might think that I'm constantly talking about it, but actually it's constantly asked to me on several platforms.
No one's asking you in your own book.
Yeah. No, because the book was about my sentiment of that time and what I'm feeling constantly and wherever I go and wherever I'm speaking. So it's actually a summation of all my thoughts. That's what we call a book that you write about yourself.
Thanks.
It was
Thank you.
just to introduce you to my autobiography, or a memoir is more like it, because I might be too young for one. So my sexuality is definitely a big topic of discussion, as spoken about on several occasions, has been asked to me on several platforms, such as this, and that's why it was at my constant state of mind to speak about it. So I say that, I won't make sweeping statements because I don't want my reality to be a headline. It needs to be really what I feel, and I've said enough about that zone in my life, and there's enough that everybody knows already, so why should one go on and on? Because people go on and on, I tend to bring it up a lot.
Do you feel the responsibility of being a path breaker? Because you are now, whether you want it to be or not, you have become, right? You're a path breaker for entire generations, not even from our generation to the younger lot, of a lot of confused teenagers who are probably, finding a way to come out or whatever. It's not just about sexuality. A lot of other things you have because you've been able to talk to them at their level, mass media level. You're not trying to be intellectual, etc. Do you feel the weight of that?
Yes, and I feel responsible as well. And I feel that my honesty on several topics, be it my life, my reality, my cinema, my observations, is one of the reasons why I think I want to connect with possibly a generation that I want to influence. When I speak about my sexuality, or I talk about my not saying what I need to, or what I put out there in cinema or in interviews or even in my book, it's basically because I hope it resonates with a large amount of people. It's not about just your sexuality. It's about growing up with flaws. It's about growing up with imperfections, and sometimes your imperfections can empower you if you channelize them in the right direction. And that's really what I want to communicate. None of us are perfect. We all are deeply flawed. We live in the gray. Black and white are like they're dreams, they're not realities. To be completely dark or completely white doesn't exist. Most of us walk the path of gray. And to acknowledge that, put it out there, and make sure that there's an entire generation that understands that it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to be flawed. It's okay not to resonate with the perceived reality and truth that your parents sometimes try to kind of teach you. Everything in life is not a Hallmark card. There are many bumps on the highway called life, and you've got to embrace them.
And yet in your book, you say it's okay to be imperfect, but it took you a long time to get there, because for those who haven't read his book, he calls himself very often, these are his words, not mine, pansy, effeminate, because these are the words that were coming back to him in his childhood. And he went to courses and classes to correct this. He went to voice classes, to body language classes, so that he wouldn't be so effeminate, you would have a baritone. So does that fatso, pansy, high-pitched person still live inside you somewhere?
It's who I am.
It's who you are.
But at that point of time, I felt the need to change it. Perhaps today I wouldn't, because times are different. They're more evolved and hopefully more understanding. It wasn't easy then, Koel, to be called pansy constantly when you enter like a football field. Because you look like one is separate, so you shouldn't be like wanting to play that sport in the first place. But if you do want to take that leap, and then the other boys turn around and say these things to you, or those days there wasn't any kind of a brickbat on your sexuality. The word pansy was used a lot in the growing up of the 80s. The kids who grew up in that time will know the word. It's not used today at all.
Anyone who was weak was also pansy, right? You're behaving like such a pansy.
And I did have no control over my hands and feet. It was how I was. I had a gentleman who actually met me at public speaking, Mr. Nazareth, and he told me, he says, make your life into a box. Put your hands very steady, because if you keep speaking and talking like this, you will always be laughed at. And it was tough. So I had to go and do this speech therapy with him, only because he planted it even further in my head that I should correct myself, because the world is not easy. And then he said, bring in baritone, because you talk like a girl and you are a boy. You shouldn't talk like a girl. You should talk like a man. These were what you call, is what people's preconceived notions of life and society are. Today, I hope we're more empowered than that. We're more accepting than that. We're far more resilient to that. We were not back then. We hopefully should be. And I have to say, Koel, I am who I am, and I'm very proud of who I am. Yeah. Whether or not I say my ground reality as a 3-word statement is not anything, because what everything else matters is the truth and reality I put out there, and I walk the talk, and I'm proud of. I'm not apologetic of my orientation. I'm not apologetic about my reality, and I'm certainly not going to be apologetic about my cinema. But I'm definitely going to put out there if I feel that I failed a creative process or I failed myself as a human being, I will admit it and acknowledge it, because being honest, to me as a public figure, is the most important prerequisite. That's the reason why you've been given this place, is you cannot lie. You should not lie. If you're a politician or a filmmaker.
You've arrived here. It's taken you a while to arrive here, right?
It does, because life is a journey. You do go through the beats. You do go through the process where you're unsure if what you should say or not say is the right thing to say or not say. Eventually, you kind of reach what you call midlife bliss, where you know...
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Is when I think you realize that everything else doesn't matter, only the truth does.
But you think that if you hadn't been successful, because success has a big thing to do with it. You're successful, you can sort of be who you really want to be, right?
Of course.
If you weren't successful, would you be hiding somewhere and not being as large as you are right now?
Perhaps, and I have nothing to say in defense of that. But the important thing is to channel your success and take it into the right direction, as opposed to enjoying it and resting on your laurels and doing nothing about it, which many of us do.
Right. So you talk about love a lot in your book, or rather unrequited love. And of course, you're not going to tell us who the two people that you have spent years... "Ae Dil Hai Mushkil" is autobiographical about the person that he loved. And he talks about in his book about two big loves of your life. Are you going to share with us who they are? No.
Names? No.
No. But they don't exist in your life so much anymore, right?
One of them does, one of them doesn't.
Do you think love...
Dude, I want to tell you, I'm sorry, I don't know why I said dude. I'm fine. I'm just telling you that people say Hindi films are theatrical and dramatic. Somewhere, at some point of time, someone drew those moments from true life. And that's why they became like melodramatic moments on celluloid, because they've happened with me. I've been on a shadi mandap where the one getting married, and I've been there dramatically for some reason when, you know, the love of my life was getting married to somebody else. It's happened to me, and I feel like, oh my God, we've taken round trolley shots of this moment in so many pieces of cinema and felt that we were doing just for like cinematic value and entertainment. But when it happens to you, you feel like you can't get over what's happening to you. So a lot of those moments that are in the book have really happened, and they look like pieces of my own work, you know, that I would have directed myself, which is where the irony lies.
Yeah, and this is the other one. The other piece was a sad moment of your father passing away, and then walks in no other than the biggest businessman, Anil Ambani, with this old handwritten letter from your father telling you, "Isko mat trust karna, isko fire kar dena, this is your main person," and like giving you a do's and don'ts.
It's true. It wasn't handwritten. It was actually typed.
I added my own.
Yeah, you made it. See, this is what people do, and they blame us for exaggeration in cinema. It was actually typed, and it was a letter that was actually an unemotional, Koel. It was actually just like, it was given to Anil. Anil and my father had a very, very strong relationship and a very strong bond. Anil treated my dad like his own, and he wrote a very pragmatic and a very, it became my Bible for the next couple of years, where he said, these are the details, your bank details. These are people you should not trust. These are people you should trust. These are people you should hire. These are people you should worry about. Don't do the following things. Don't walk into these partnerships. I listened to many of those things, and some of those I haven't. But it was a complete Bible for me to live by. Like when people say they leave a legacy, mine was written down as in like a point form. Okay. My legacy, my emotional legacy and
Excel
professional
sheet.
legacy was like literally like an Excel sheet. It was ran into 3.5 pages. There was not a single emotional line. It was just practical.
But you shared a very emotional relationship with your father.
Yes.
He was a very traditional and very loved man. I wonder if he was still around, whether you would be able to, A, make some of the films that you have made post his death, and like Bombay Talkies, even Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna, and B, whether you would be able to, for instance, be a single parent via surrogacy. Would he be okay with this, or would you have the courage to be this person that you are today?
I can't answer that like I would know it. I would like to say that there are certain beats of my emotional life I think he would completely be in support of, because my happiness was paramount to him. Some of the cinema choices he may not have allowed me to make. That I would definitely know. Anyone who knew my father knew that he was actually very liberal, but he was always very worried about me. So he might, just for protective reasons, disallowed some of my cinema choices. But where it comes to my emotional existence, I think maybe I would have worked around him and said that this is what I want. And he was very progressive in his ideologies and thoughts. Of course, he thought that I was, certain things he was incorrect about, like he thought I was really good looking and I should be a film hero. And at 15 he said, you have puppy fat. If you lose it, you can become a hero. And me and my mother gave each other a knowing look at that point, like, we're not listening to daddy. Like, you know, we're not. Like, she told me later on that night, you know that you should not take what he said seriously. So luckily, mothers can be quite aware, and mine is. So there were few things that he was not. He loved me and he thought I was the best filmmaker in the whole world, which was, of course, fine. It was his belief, and I loved the fact that he loved me so much. But I definitely think he would have been definitely some kind of an obstacle in certain ways. But hopefully, in the larger scheme of things, where it came to my personal life, he would have been in support. I'd like to believe that.
Do you believe that love transcends everything, or has the power to transcend everything, that it can break through boundaries of color, sexuality, religion, or not?
No. No. These days, hate actually transcends everything, unfortunately. Look at the time we're in. Love is, I mean, it's beautiful to believe in it, and I love those who love love, and I love those who live by it. But there is a reality check, and not the one that I get from India's Got Talent, but there is a reality check that you actually have to kind of account for, which is that love sometimes has to be kind of substituted with pragmatism and the order of the day.
So now, since you've been at the receiving end of being at an unrequited love, what would be your quick fix for broken hearts? Karan's tips for the broken heart.
There's no tip. It's like, firstly, self-pity is a spa. It's a great place to be in for a few days. But you've got to leave that spa eventually. You can't continuously be in that happy space, because self-pity is the most wonderful place to be in. It can take you through everything if you allow it, and then it'll destroy you. So get out of that zone as quick as you can, A. B, involve yourself in work. Just make your work your ambition and not your love life. Because work is everything. It deconstructs every emotion within you. And I think that's what I did. I just channelized the work energy within me. And the third is just, you know, go out there and have some fun.
Are you having fun?
Of course, who isn't, aren't you?
Sometimes.
Oh, because you're married. That stops the fun, is it?
Speaking of which, infidelity is omnipresent in your life, right? You not in with your parents' marriage, apparently, from reading the book.
No, at least not that I know of.
Yeah, but it's everywhere, and it doesn't seem to shock you. And also abuse, drugs, all that has been, you know, you've been privy to it. Do you ever come across still something in the industry that sort of jolts you, sends a shiver down your...
Like what, a happy marriage?
Oh.
Yeah, that would really jolt me. Like, oh, you're happily married, you don't exist. You're a dinosaur, get out of here.
If you had a choice and you could choose the mother of your children, of your twins, who would it be?
No one. I'm the mother of my children.
So you'd be mother and father?
Of course.
Me, myself and I.
I'm a bona fide mother of my children. I'm proud to be a mother. I'm more a mother than I'm a father.
What is the main reason for having your children? I know you talk about that I have this nurturing, deep desire to nurture, but is it also this sort of partly narcissist, partly fear that I have this legacy and no one to leave it behind to, and that the gene pool will stop here? And
no.
No?
I mean, to me, I believe I cannot be dictating those choices to my children. I don't want them to be filmmakers if they don't want to be. I don't want them to run the company if they choose not to be. If they have other choices in life, I would encourage them, like my parents encouraged my choice to be a filmmaker, when actually I was warned by everyone not to walk into the big bad world of Bollywood. But my parents supported me, and I would be completely supported. My need to have children was my sense of, as you said, my nurturing within, and my deep sense that I wanted to take like the love within me and channelize it into parenting, because I really believe I'll be a good parent, because I was very well parented. And there was a deep amount of loneliness that I felt. There was a vacuum that is now filled so beautifully by my two children. And when I see them and I hold them, I can't explain the feeling. I don't think I can explain that feeling. With the first day I walked into the NICU, they were born premature. They were born on the 7th of Feb and were meant to be born first week of April. So the first couple of days were kind of shaky. But when I knew they were on track, and then when the news got out, I could officially go to the hospital and see them. And I saw them. I didn't even realize there were tears rolling down my face because I just could not believe that there were two big pieces of me like there, staring at me, vulnerable, innocent, and all piped and tubed up. It was just the most surreal, overwhelming emotion that I've ever experienced. I now understand what others feel. Like I understand my own mother's paranoia a little bit because I felt so many things at that moment of time that I wouldn't reverse that emotion for anything.
And it's only going to grow. This is only the beginning. I'm telling you as a mother.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this might be stayed, but we are playing rapid fire.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, right? I can't see the clock, Kali, so is the time... I have no idea. Right. Who would play you in your biopic? Who would play your two big loves? Your mother and your father.
Who would play me? Big loves we won't get into.
Who would play them? Yeah, you're casting. You're not giving out. Oh my God, he's so not winning his own hamper. Ever.
Koel, I'm not that stupid. You know, I mean, you must understand, I sense a trick question and how you just put that in there like it was like just a simple inquiry to make. So no, I won't answer the love. Who will play me? I don't know. Ranbir Kapoor seems to be very obsessed with my personality. I'm going to ask him to play me. He might have to put on a fat suit, but he'll do it. Who'll play my parents? I don't know. Who'll play my dad? Who'll play my mom? My mom? Oh God, she's a tough one to cast. Well, if you start younger, maybe Juhi Chawla. And my father, I think, well, Rishi Kapoor perhaps, because he's good with changing his look around.
And the heroes?
The heroes of the film. There aren't any. I'm the only one. I'm the hero of my story.
The heroines.
The heroines?
Yeah.
There aren't any. I told you.
It's his biopic. Me, myself,
I'm the hero of my story. I'm the mother of my children. What else do you want to know?
Would you rather find true love and be poor or rich and single?
Oh dear, that is a trick question.
These are your questions. They're not from anyone else. They're straight from...
Oh, these are mine.
These are straight from your Coffee with Karan.
True love moves away and lust takes over at times. Yeah. So we will go to the rich and single one.
Okay, I'll change the question around. Passionate lust and be poor or rich and single? Lonely. Rich and lonely.
Rich and single. Passionate lust can be achieved in various other ways.
So someone on your show, we won't name her, said your idea of poverty is different from mine. What is your idea of poverty?
The way everyone's idea of poverty is. I don't understand what that statement meant.
Who, according to you, has verbal diarrhea in your industry?
According to the lady, it was me, and I do speak a lot because that's what I do. That's what being a talk show host is about. You're meant to talk. Who else has verbal diarrhea? Preeti Zinta. She can speak more than anyone else. She's a speakathon. I love her for it.
Who, as per your experience, has given you more unnecessary attitude in the industry? Male or female co-star, and who?
The men. Not unnecessary. Attitude is sexy.
You love it, right?
Always.
Who, according to you, is the flag bearer of nepotism in the industry?
Me. You don't know I won that award.
No. Are you the movie mafia?
Of course.
Oh my God.
Why do you think I'm here at 10 a.m. in the morning? With hearts behind me, no less.
Which Indian star would you like to go skinny dipping with?
Which Indian star? I won't go skinny dipping at all, firstly, because you've got to be skinny to skinny dip, and I'm far from it. So I'm not going with any movie star to skinny dip.
What's the face that Karan makes when the guests on his show don't answer?
Is that your face? That face I don't make. That's just your face in general, Koel. No. But I would not go skinny dipping, that's the truth.
Okay, who would you like to see skinny dipping?
Moving on, Taylor Swiftly.
First celebrity crush.
Sridevi.
Of course. Three things that you know or think that people, let's not say people, okay, let's say I don't know about you.
You don't know about me?
Yeah, three things.
That I have hemorrhoids. Um,
Thanks.
a very deep problem. That's why I wear black. That's the second one. Uh, and third is that I can play badminton really well. Nobody knows that.
Who was painful to watch on your rapid fire round?
There were many, we edited those gaps and pauses. There were several of them who just get very scared and worried like their life depends on it. Who was painful to watch. There were I thought most of them were really quite underperformed at the rapid fire zone. We made up with it with other games we played because none of them wanted to be like honest like I'm not being.
Who killed it?
Who nailed it?
Yeah.
Kangana. She was really good.
Apart from her, has there been anyone on your show that said something that made you go, I never knew that?
Kangana.
Okay. Kill, marry, or just friends with? So you have Shah Rukh Khan, Sid Malhotra, Aishwarya Rai.
I marry Shah Rukh. I love his bungalow. Oh. I'd kill Aishwarya and Siddharth Malhotra both because I don't want to answer this question. I'll hook up with you, Koel. It'll be different.
Any day, Karan.
You're married, so that's allowed.
That's allowed, right? That's expected.
At least I'm allowed, I'm sure. Even your husband won't mind.
What animal would you play? What animal would you be? I don't know how you asked that question, actually.
What animal would I be?
Yeah, what animal would you be?
Well, what animal am I like? I don't know. Lion and tiger would be too macho for me. So, I'm nocturnal, so maybe an owl. I don't know.
What is the greatest misconception about you?
That I'm clever. Not really. It's all an act.
Do you ever feel that you're going to be found out?
Do you have a sorry?
Do you ever feel that you might be found out?
I made today.
Who, according to you, is the most talented in the industry?
Talented filmmaker or just talented?
Actor.
Actor? Who's the most talented? Ranbir Kapoor.
Actress?
Alia Bhatt.
If you weren't a filmmaker or anything to do with the entertainment business, what would be your career?
A film critic, fashion designer, or a talk show host?
No, nothing to do with the industry.
Oh, then?
Huh.
Oh, I'd be unhappy, firstly. I'd be, I think, a PR, public relations.
Okay, describe your average day from morning till evening. Like, what do you do? Because I want to see how it's going to change when your kids are around.
There's nothing average about my day,
Oh,
firstly.
sorry.
And what's my average day? I wake up, I go to work, unless I'm shooting for a reality show or a talk show or attending an event, doing an interview. Then I go to work, I have meetings, I read scripts, I meet filmmakers, I meet my own people. We plan, strategize, make movies. That's what we do, we love. And that goes on till like 11 and 12 at night, from quite early in the morning.
What's the best part about your day?
What's the best part of my day? Every time I see like the rushes of a film that I'm making and I love is invariably the best part of my day. Otherwise, it's like hanging out in the center foyer of my office and gossiping about what's happening in the office.
What's the best gossip you've heard?
Today?
Yeah.
I haven't read Pink Villa.
Last night.
Last night, what's the best piece of gossip I heard last night? Oh, I don't know. I just tried to recheck on a blind item if I was right about the people they mentioned.
No, that's... Karan.
I don't know. I can't give you gossip here. What do you think? I'm frivolous? Not at all. Don't be silly.
Okay, what is the word that best describes you? That's your last question.
Lost.
Does he look lost to you guys?
You never know. I'm Gemini. You get two for the price of one.
Give a big round of applause for Karan Johar.
Karan, Koel, thank you. And Karan, I'm a mother to twins, so from one mother to another mother, congratulations. All the best and get enough sleep. No, but thank you so much for your brutally honest answers. I would like to call on stage Ms. Madhu Datta. She's the head marketing for Rayband, to kindly come and felicitate our guest. Thank you so much. And Karan, I know it's a special day for you. It's your mom's birthday, so a very happy birthday to her as well from the India Today group. Thank you.